Half-Life 2 is a game known by many gamers around the world, but a fraction of those same people know about the game's beta. The thing that separates Half-Life 2's beta from others is the fact that the finished game is way more different and comparably more light in theme compared to its previous versions. Things like child workers, human mutilation, and extreme pollution to the point where you die after moments of being out without a gas mask are all themes within the story of the Half-Life 2 beta. There are certain different plot points and concepts that were dropped and brought up at certain points in the production of the game, so I'll be separating this video into two different time frames of development. The first one being early development, that being from 1999 to 2002, and the second being late development from 2003 to 2004. In addition to covering the history of the beta, I will also be touching upon the rough plot of the game that sadly never came to be. Not much is actually known about the development cycle in 1999. One of the only artifacts from the series, the dev test map, Get Your Free TVs. This map takes place during the City 17 rebellion, in which a person carrying a television is seen yelling about free TVs as such. Free TVs. I'd like my Oscar sent to this address. Thank you. It's also important to note that this is the very first time Valve showed off their partially completed source engine. Several ideas for plots were passed around, such as Gordon Freeman traveling to different planets and killing Xenians on them. An idea that was in the finished game was also presented in 1999, that being that the game takes place in Eastern Europe. Not much in the place of innovation. Oh my god. Not much in the place of innovation happened in the year of 2000. This year was mostly used to solidify the story and build different test maps for the source engine, although the idea of the Combine invading Earth got brought up, and as we know, that was put into the retail game. Several things of note happened in 2001, including the man, the myth, the legend, Gabe Newell, leaving the development team to their own to design the game while he focuses on Steam's development. Shill. It's also known that before the summer started, the devs finished the physics coding for Source. Okay, we're still recording. I am. Still recording. Okay, good. I'm still recording. In 2002, the first trailer for Half-Life 2 gets finished and shown to Gabe and Jay Stellar. They are unimpressed, and they believe that the game needed more time to be developed. As a result, the dev team polished the trailer, and luckily Gabe and Jay approved, and they prepared to show the trailer E3 2003. In addition to the trailer, the first maps for the retail release were developed. Gabe Newell makes the decision to announce that Half-Life 2 will be done by the 30th of September. In May, the trailer for Half-Life 2 was revealed at E3 to critical acclaim. Shortly after, Valve sees that the game will definitely not be done by the 30th. Even though Valve knew that the release date was impossible when Vivendi Interactive, Valve's publisher, asked about the release date, Gabe affirmed that the game would be done by the 30th. On September 23rd, Valve announced that the game would be delayed. As a result, fans, particularly Fragmaster, who owned the at the time popular forum Planet Half-Life, started boycotting Valve, and some even announced that they'd never buy a Valve game or product ever again. 9 days after the delay was announced on October 1st, a young German programmer named Axel Gembe leaked the source code and assets for not only Half-Life 2, but other Valve projects such as a port of Half-Life to the Source engine, an extremely early version of Counter-Strike Source, Counter-Strike Condition Zero, no one particularly cared about that one, and two-player models from Team Fortress 2 were also leaked. Immediately after, when people found out that the game was not only unpolished, but downright unfinished, they freaked out even further. In early March of 2004, the game can successfully be played from start to finish, and therefore playtesting was officially started, and thus the story of the Half-Life 2 beta comes to an end. Now that we're done with the history of the beta, let's get to the plot and story of the Half-Life 2 beta. Since the story got changed either slightly or dramatically at some points, I'll try to compile the various points to the best of my ability. Gordon awakes next to the G-Man, who gives him a brief synopsis of the events that happened from the past 10 years while he was in stasis. Gordon then awakes in a train in the wasteland, which is a cut area from the game. He then interacts with a civilian named Samuel, who reveals that the Earth has been taken over by a tyrannical race of aliens called the Combine. Samuel then comments on Gordon's lack of a gas mask, which is integral to breathing in the city, which is where the train is going. After the train departs the station, Gordon hits the streets of City 17, and after a little time walking, passing factories and stenography buildings, Gordon gets pulled aside at a Metro cop checkpoint, and it is revealed that the cop that pulled him aside was a friend of Gordon's from Black Mesa named Barney. Barney tells Gordon to meet him at the Manhack arcade. Gordon navigates to the arcade and has a conversation with Barney about how to get to a mutual scientist friend's lab. After a walk through the sewer, Gordon arrives at Dr. Kleiner's lab and is instructed to go into Kleiner's teleporter so he can teleport to a rebel base. When the teleporter fails, Gordon has to once again go on foot through the canals to the lab of another close friend from Black Mesa known as Eli Maxwell. After a long trip through the canals and wasteland, Gordon stumbles upon an area known as Quarrytown. This town was infested with Zen beings and zombies. In Quarrytown, Gordon meets an insane preacher known as Father Grigori. When Gordon escapes Quarrytown with the help of Father Grigori, he stumbles upon Eli's lab and scrapyard. Eli introduces Gordon to Dog, who is a robot who was meant to protect Alex, who was a friend of Eli's, and the daughter of the leader of the human branch of the Combine Army. That is a mouthful. Only known as Captain Vance. That's his name. Eli then introduces Gordon to the gravity gun and sends him on his way. Gordon then maneuvers his way to the ant-lion caves, in which he fights yet another race of aliens. Gordon makes his way to the air exchange, which is a building that exchanges air into gases that are breathable for the aliens in charge of the Combine Army. Gordon then destroys the air exchange by making its reactor inoperable. The air exchange being destroyed was taken as a call to action, or an uprising amongst the citizens. By the time Gordon makes it back to City 17, the rebellion has turned into a full-on war between the rebels and Combine. Gordon fights against the rebels in the streets until he meets up with Barney and Dog at the barrier protecting the Combine HQ building, the Citadel. Dog then lifts the barrier and Gordon snakes underneath. As Gordon sneaks through the Citadel, killing any Combine that come in his way, the advisor for Earth to the Combine, only known as the Consul, keeps interrupting the alien programs on all the monitors at the Citadel, taunting Gordon. When Gordon makes it to the Consul's office, he reveals to Gordon that he has Alex held hostage at gunpoint by a prominent resistance member known as Helena Mossman, who's working against the rebels as a double agent for the Combine. Now, the tricky thing right now is that there's no known ending to the Half-Life 2 beta. It's not known what happens to Gordon, Helena, Alex, or the Consul. So what I'm planning on doing is just telling you what I think and, in a way, wanted to happen. Please do not take what I say as confirmed canon at all. That's not what it is. It's just pure fantasy with no evidence. So, let the headcanon start. Shortly after the reveal of Helena's betrayal, Gordon shoots Helena in the head and sets Alex free. Alex and Gordon then face off against the Consul, who is now half-man, half-alien technology that is keeping him alive and making him immortal. Gordon and Alex dispatch to the Consul, and they then sprint to the Consul in front of a window looking out to the reactor of the Citadel. Gordon and Alex then decide that Gordon should go out into the reactor and blow it up with the gravity gun. After Gordon destroys it, the Citadel goes into meltdown, and the moment the Citadel structure starts to fail, the G-Man plucks Gordon out of the area and puts him back into stasis. The end.